Pleased to have Mr. Clark, and we'll have a great discussion tonight. We will start with calling the roll. Over to
Thank
you,
you,
Mr. Lazar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Alcorn. Here. Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Bierman. Here. Commissioner Bodie. Here. Commissioner Carrera. Here. Commissioner Chapman. Chair DeFerranti.
Here, I think Commissioner Chapman's just,
Yes.
his food is there, and I saw him earlier, so.
Commissioner Fields. Commissioner Glass.
Here.
Commissioner Green. Commissioner Hardy.
Here.
Commissioner Hudson.
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez. Commissioner Karantonis. Here. Commissioner LeBlanc. Here. Commissioner Lusk. Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Sains.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Walkinshaw.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. So I will quickly just share with Mr. Clark. We have a couple other items after that. I guess I'll just give a sentence. I think it's 49 straight months of ridership increases, maybe 50, I'm not sure. And 51 consecutive months of ridership increases. Walter's just joined as a principal director of the Metro Board. I'm an alternate. I'm hoping that means that I have limited things that I get to do. But I will be ready, and I guess it's just important to note that we both saw, and it's a matter of public record, that the budget every year has beat expectations. The last 3 or 4 years beat expectations steadily throughout the year. I think that's super important as we face the fiscal challenges. So over to Mr. Clark.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for having, I'm here with Greg Potts. Many people know Greg. He's at Metro, we joke, we have a government affairs team led by Regina Sullivan. Most people know Regina. And then we have a de facto governor/mayor is the joke, because your job is to literally know everybody, either Virginia, Greg's job, Charlie in Maryland, or Ann in DC. And so I know Greg interacts with, everyone across Northern Virginia, actually, and in Richmond, depending on the topic as well. So Bob, congratulations on your soon retirement.
Thank you.
I hear, and I joke with Bob, I really hope I make it to retirement one day. In Metro years, I think I'm 112. But really congratulations and thank you for joining the Metro Board as well. Supervisor Alcorn, super excited for you to go from alternate to principal. Really appreciate all the collaboration we've had over the last couple of years. Tomorrow is actually my 3rd year anniversary. And so feeling still humbled and amazed that I have this awesome opportunity to lead this obviously very important organization that drives so much of our regional economy, quality of life, and also immensely proud of the organization and my teammates. We have 13,000 teammates at Metro, and while we're certainly not perfect, and this morning we had a pretty rough commute on Blue, Orange, and Silver. I was caught in it myself. So once in a while we do have some challenges, but I'd like to think empirically and even emotionally, I think most people would hopefully acknowledge where we were a few years ago. We were in a much, much different spot. And that's to the hard work of the board and the entire staff. I just have kind of the fun of communicating about the organization and tweeting and other things that I do. But I'm really just proud of this organization. So thanks for having me tonight. I'll go through this relatively quickly, and then any dialogue and exchange and kind of ideas and thoughts how we can continue to be better. And if you got other ideas after this, just let us know and really think through our little kind of more important, our strategy on the go forward of how we don't go backwards. We made so much progress, and I don't know if it's too soon, but maybe last fall's we're not going back. Maybe we can start using that slogan a bit, which is we're not going to go back to fires every day and derailments and all this. And the key there is predictability of funding, predictability of outcomes, and accountability to those outcomes. And that's really important regardless who the GM is or the board is, holding the whole region accountable for the success of the institution. So next slide. I guess I'm told to say next slide here. At a glance, this is our FY26 budget. It's about $5 billion, more or less equal operating and capital. We on the capital side, just quickly, this is like rolling stock, buying trains, maintaining trains, buying buses, maintaining buses, track, power, signal, bus lifts, bus garages, all the stuff that it's like the big house, right? And keeping the house going. We have been kind of not executing capital to the full extent the last 2 years because we are so concerned about the upcoming capital fiscal crisis that is, and we'll talk about that later. I think most people are aware because of the DNB moves effort, a lot of other things. We do have a pretty significant capital crisis going to happen. So we've been trying to be very selective on the investment portfolio. It's not actually saving us any money. In one way, it's actually going to cost us more, but it's cash management to just try to, so we don't have as big a drop in the delivery of the program. On the operating side, last year, I think it was about, if I recall, about 70 million under budget. And I'm happy to report we'll have audited financials in September, but preliminarily, we believe we're going to end the year just under 120 million dollars under budget, which is a pretty significant amount. It's really led a little bit by ridership, obviously, and really trying to manage cost containment, everything from vacancies to technology and everything else, fuel, energy costs. Very hard environment to do that. I'll say tariffs make it more challenging. Labor, not labor union, but labor costs challenging, uncertainty. Our industry has a lot of consolidation. So the lack of predictability holistically does impact delivering the business, but really working on making every dollar count for the system, which means it counts for the region. The last part is on the right-hand side. Those are the 4 categories. We put together a strategic transformation plan. Really thankful for the board. We did this in a very collaborative way. One of the most important things I heard during the interview process and discussion was we got to get the staff and the board aligned and the board aligned with the region. And when we did this transformation plan, we went out and talked to a lot of leaders, including people in this room, a lot of stakeholders, a lot of public transparency process to really say, what are we trying to accomplish, and have a strategic plan that is not a shelf plan, drives the organization. It drives our capital budget, our operating budget, our ethos around training, metrics, performance management. It's how my performance report's done and all my management team. Really trying to ground things out, really to that idea of transparency equals accountability, and accountability leads to performance in that circle. So that's how that kind of works on that slide. The next slide, I won't go into this detail. These are just important economic and kind of quality of life factors about Metro. I just took the train, obviously, out here to Dunloring. It's a great example of how much Metro matters to the connection in this area. So I happen to live in the city, but I use the system in all parts of it. And it's really great because you can really see how the region connects through the Metro system. In many ways, we are the only regional thing. I guess us and the Commanders were like the 2 things that kind of unite the region. Caps when they're running well. Sorry to say, Walter, the Nats are not bringing the region together right at the moment. But we always have hope for a better day. But if you look at this, a couple things that really, it's about wherever Metro goes, the community grows is kind of our saying. So within about a half a mile of a Metro station generally makes up about 30% of our tax base for our whole region. Most all the major development is happening on or near around Metro or within a walk shed or a close shed of Metro. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to continue to do that. We need to continue to think through what the density mix is, the land use, parking, all of those things to really bring in more and more activity. And as you know, and I'll talk about this second, we're trying to really work with all your local jurisdictions as best we can on activating the real estate aspect around our stations where appropriate. So, but anyway, good for the environment, good for equity, good for affordability. I think we all know transit is just a good thing when it's working well and make it happen. And especially important, I think, because Consumers Reports came out with a report yesterday that our traffic is now #1, worse than LA. Not something we should be proud of. And I think if we thought about it, if we had 100,000 more people a day on transit, we would probably go from 1 to probably like 7 on that list. It doesn't take that much to move our needle, right? It's probably only realistically like 100,000 more people on transit a day in a region of 6 million people. And they'll probably make that kind of difference. So that's a lot of, metal boxes of one person in them that we could actually change the network pretty significantly. The next slide kind of highlights going on. A few I'm going to highlight that I think are really, really important. Customer satisfaction is how we are measuring if we're doing well or not, i.e. the people who use the system, are they happy with what they're getting? Kind of like the Yelp review. And I'm happy to report in FY24, we had the highest customer satisfaction in the history of Metro on both rail and on bus. So we've actually beat our 5-year goal to get to these numbers. So again, gonna have days like today that we're perfect, but overall performance is people are pretty happy with it. We've reduced crime. That's 49% is as of the end into this week in July. Just over 2 years, we're almost 60% reduction. So we're actually at a 7-year low of crime, and we're currently on pace to have the lowest crime year in the history of Metro. So pretty dramatic turnaround. That again doesn't mean when you move 1 million people a day, there's something that's going to happen. With that said, there's crime in every jurisdiction. Metro just is A-block news for whatever happens all the time. So we understand there's a perception aspect that's not just the reality aspect. We also realize, like I was on the Hill yesterday, there's other eyes on our system that local jurisdictions don't necessarily have. And therefore, the rider base has different perception on, urban or suburban living or other things that they might not have in other jurisdictions. So we're very cognizant of that. Fare evasion dropped very dramatically on the rail side, which has helped a lot with the revenue and I think just overall crime and staff happiness at work and things of that nature. We're working on the bus side as well. Total ridership last year, we closed out just about 265 million trips. So really pushing that really hard, and our goal is to obviously grow that again this year. If we go to the next slide, something I'm immensely proud of. We got selected, and in September, we're going to get presented at the industry annual meeting as the top transit agency in the United States. And so we're really, thank you. Really proud of our team. To be recognized by your peers is a big deal, whatever industry you're in. And for them all to say that we are kind of the gold standard in the country again feels really good. You all know, because you've lived here, most people a long time, this place has gone through times when it has been the gold standard, and then it has gone through some roller coaster. We're back to the gold standard, and we don't want to go back, and we want to now grow from that to be even, some was discussing, more world standard in a lot of ways. The next slide, 51 straight months of ridership growth. Couple facts here that are interesting. Before I get to the Virginia specific side, we carry more people on bus today than we did before the pandemic, and we're the only large transit system in the country that has done that. So more people on bus. I want to set a goal that we want to move 500,000 a day on bus. During school, we move about 420, 425, some days 430 on bus. That's a lot of people we're moving on bus. I think we have the bones to move 500. We need some more bus lanes and a little bit more coordination and a little bit more service. But I think that's a big deal. Bus is such a backbone of the region. Second, we've led the United States in rail ridership growth for over 20 months. So we've grown more ridership than any other rail agency in the country as well. I will tell you, I've been doing this thing, unfortunately, for a while. The number one thing that drives ridership is service and nothing else. People talk about fares, people talk about marketing, all that stuff might be worth 1% and it's good. It only matters if we're running good service. It has to be safe, it has to be reliable, and it has to be frequent. And we are running an all day a week frequent service network. This organization for a long time ran very good peak service, but not as good on weekends and nights. We run good service all the time now. And that consistent frequency allows people to really change their life. 2-car family to a 1-car family, 1-car family to a 0. It allows them to be more affordable, more choices and more freedom about what they want to do, whether they're going to a Nats game at night or going to a museum or a job on the weekend. It's a big deal. The weekend economy and the night economy is a big deal, and especially for lower income individuals, and having really good transit matters. And people in those jobs should have equal access, in our opinion, than same as people in offices, right? So that's where we're really focused on. In Virginia, Ridership is up 19% on rail. Some of the top performing stations shouldn't be that surprising because that's Silver Line Phase 2 opening, but West Falls does stick out. I will tell you, West Falls, it is, East Falls is the most, but West Falls is growing. The amount of parking demand in Virginia has grown. We basically are giving ticketing. We ticket almost every day at East Falls because too many people park illegally because there's not enough spots. And if you really think a couple of years ago that could be a conversation, so we are really full on parking again all over the region, which is a really good sign of the health of our regional economy and just the overall network itself. And then in Virginia, bus is up 2%, which I kind of want to mention as well. The next slide is just kind of the Virginia story in the last few years of where we are. So we're probably about 105,000 people on the system out of Virginia today. Yeah, I get everyone else has the states and then the low. I try to actually never get into the, I would call it the parochial side. I always joke with our team. I'm like, no, it's one region. But we wanted to highlight kind of some of the Virginia themes. But as you can see, very consistent growth, and we expect that to continue this year as well. Next slide, I want to just highlight some safety stuff. This has obviously been a historic topic here at Metro. I want to ground everyone. The worst, I would say the worst, the most you think a system is unsafe in transit is still probably safer than any street in the history of America. So when people talk about transit not being safe, the worst week Metro probably ever had, I think that about Metro's had a couple, historic bad weeks, but generally speaking, I hope I'm getting my theme, which is transit, no matter really what happens, is way safer than ever cars, right? We're going to lose about 45,000 people in cars in America this year. And transit, outside of people intentionally, harming themselves, there might be a couple fatalities in the entire country. It is enormously safe. We are incredibly cautious and risk averse to deliver that extra level of safety that no one would even judge roadway. If we have a crash out on this road right now, it'll get cleared by a police officer and no one's going back and saying, should there be an engineering review? How do we redo curriculum of a driver's license? There's nothing. It just moves on. We have, NTSB investigations, right? And so we take that very, very serious, but transit is enormously safe. We are now industry leading on across all of the safety metrics. So we'll start with public safety. We also won this year the industry award for public safety, a gold award for being the safest for our public safety in all of our initiatives. And I walked through some of those. A couple of things I'd love to invite people, if you haven't been yet, we have a brand new control center, about a year old at Eisenhower. And it'd be really good, defer to you all. That might be a nice visit for the group. We've been taking a lot of people through it. State of the art. It really gives people the sense of how Metro works holistically and our role in public safety, not just on our system, but as a regional public safety leader. Our video is used by everybody, whether you're in Fairfax, DC, Prince George's, you name it, FBI. We have over 30,000 cameras, highly integrated. Overwhelming amount of closure cases in most local police departments have some nexus to Metro helping with those cases. So it's a big regional and national security kind of asset that we all use. If we go to the next slide, I'll go through these very quickly. These are National Transit Database. So these are the data that is collected by the federal government that measures performance, and this is the safety performance. And if you look, we have the least, so the blue represents all of the peer agencies that we are in a peer group with. We are, as you see, rail collisions, 0. So we're below that. On derailments, 0, below the whole industry average. Rail customer injuries at the bottom of that as well. If you go to the next slide, bus customer injuries at the lowest. Metro access collisions almost at we're the second, I think, of our entire peer group lowest. Metro access customer injuries, also the lowest. So overall safety, if you work or take Metro, we're leading the country across every safety topic there is in the industry. So that doesn't mean that we can't constantly learn and get better. I want to be very clear about that, but really proud of the record that they're kind of delivering. Next slide, continuous customer improvement. A couple of things that we've done that I think would be really interesting. If you haven't heard, we opened the system to stay open later now on weekends. It's now open till 2 a.m. instead of 1, and we open at 6 a.m. instead of 7 on Saturday and Sunday morning. When I first got here, some people thought this was very DC centric. And I said, no, not at all. If you want to get to National Airport or Dulles Airport or an Amtrak train, you can't get there on a Saturday and Sunday. If you live, I don't know, say here, and you want to get, I don't know, a Clarendon at 7 in the morning on Saturday, you can't get there. So it's certainly not about DC at all. Lots of people that work in the nightlife in DC or the Clarendon corridor work in other parts of the region, as an example, right? So we're really happy about being able to deliver, and we delivered that extra service with no extra cost. We use cost savings to deliver that service. We're back into full automatic train operation, which means for the first time in 15 years, we're using the technology of the system to run a safer system. If you take the train out here, we now run upwards of 75 miles an hour. So we go faster than the cars, which is what we were designed to do. We haven't run at that speed since 1986. We've been leaving millions of dollars on the table every year and not as safe of a system. So really did a lot of enormous work to get us there, and it's working out generally really well. The last thing I mentioned here is contactless payment. And we did a great rollout with our friends, former board member Letourneau, but Loudon supervisor out at Dulles. And now you can use your credit and debit card and just kind of tap and go and not really worry about it. So we'll have that rolled out to bus this fall. And then as soon as that's over, we're going to roll it out to parking. But I think on weekends, we're averaging 12-15% of all transactions are just using credit debit. And it's very clear. It's picking up week after week. Really makes just frictionless experience to use the system. Next thing up is Better Bus. Better Bus, and I just want to put a thank you out to all of the local jurisdictions, elected officials that helped with communications and kind of feedback and just working with the community, but also the staff at all the organizations. Enormous amount of coordination and collaboration. And I think it's been one of maybe the best exercises the whole region's gone through about people working together and showing we can all trust each other and work on the same goal. Has it been perfect? Of course not. We've literally changed the entire bus network, right? Overall, the team feels we've actually delivered better than we thought. My expectations are actually we're delivered. I was a little worried. I did one of these before in Austin. What is really good is the issues we're finding are generally minor, and we're adjusting them very quickly. But a minor issue to us might be a major issue to a customer, and we're very empathetic about that. And there will be some stuff that we're going to have to continue to work. We made with thousands and thousands of bus stops, there are a few that are getting highlighted more in the media that we kind of just screwed up. But 0.0001, but they look like a big deal. We understand that, and we're quickly trying to solve those. I just ask that if you have issues or you got ideas or you're hearing things, the earlier you can let us know, we can get on it, try to fix it. Last couple things here in Virginia Development Review.
Next slide.
Oh, sorry, next slide. Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are the ones we just recently completed. One at Huntington, West Falls Church. We're not that far from getting the groundbreaking going on that one. We want to work a little bit more on Braddock and Eisenhower. I think there we go. Yeah. We're one region until we're not, right? Which one do you want, Braddock or Eisenhower?
Braddock.
Oh, I thought for sure you were gonna say both.
Didn't know that was an option.
He's not sure anymore. He doesn't have to be that pragmatic.
Yeah, but we'd like to do both. We also want to get the other part of Huntington kind of moving along as well. And then obviously Van Dorn and East Falls Church. So we have a strategic real estate plan. While we're doing stuff in Virginia, we're also doing a lot of Maryland and stuff in DC. So overall, we're moving a lot of development opportunities. DC, a good example, we've got some library stuff going on. Here we got some housing and other activity centers. So to me, we can't do enough of this. I'm currently recruiting for a senior vice president of real estate. So Liz Price, who ran all of our real estate, unfortunately is leaving us, not in a bad way. She's moving to Europe with her husband. And we're looking for a really good person to lead that portfolio. And our entire mission is this, and I want to be clear. We are here to support our partners in development. We are not a real estate firm. We're a transportation firm. There's just land that's either in some ways useless parking or parcels. You have housing, you have development goals in your community. How can we help make those happen? That's our attitude. I don't know if it's always been that way, but that is our attitude. So let's make deals and create more development around Metro. That's almost sound like a Shark Tank kind of. Just trying to say we're here to partner. As I wrap, a couple of quick ones. This is really what I want to focus on. Things are going well, but we do have, there is an elephant in the room, and it is funding. It's the predictability of funding. I don't want to take a second to forget that a few years ago, we had a massive operating deficit coming out of COVID. Between our work on cost savings, every member of Metro took 0 last year. We had massive CBA savings. We did a lot of stuff. The local jurisdictions and states stepped up with backfilling their operating subsidy because of the pandemic. Operating, I will tell you, unless there's a serious crisis, we should be good go forward at 3% escalation. And we just have to manage. That's it. It's in law, it's 3%. We have to live within our means. The jurisdiction has to have predictability. And we all agree what outcomes are we going to get. And we need to drive technology and better work practices to get more savings, to deliver more service. That shouldn't be on the jurisdiction. I believe that's on us. And again, that's us kind of owning that. With that said, we need to all own the capital program. Everyone came together 2018 into 2019 and said 500 million. And that was desperately needed for a long time. And it took a lot to get to that 500 million. And I wasn't here, but as an organization, that was a big deal. The problem we did is we didn't index that 500 million. And we all know, and people knew what was happening. So eventually that money would run out, right? Because the money's still coming in, but the debt financing wall is going to hit around FY29, give or take. But in capital planning, that means this year we're going to start showing reductions in capital, right? If that was indexed, we wouldn't be here having that conversation. So whatever we do as a solve, we got to figure this out and index it so the jurisdictions have predictability and Metro, and then we agree what we're going to get for that money, right? So if you go to the next slide, the DMV moves process has been really good. Some people in this room are on it. Thank you for all your time working on it. We've had a lot of people engaged. I think the most important part of this, in my opinion, was this never even happened before. To have the COG board and Metro board actually meet together and say, we have a problem, how do we work together? Very symbolic for our region to do that. Then we all agreed on the problem statement that wasn't indexed and we got a capital problem. Now we've got more or less consensus, if you go to this next slide, that yes, we got to modernize our rail pro system, our signaling system. We are behind on every large system in the country on signaling. Every agency in this country is investing in new signaling, and we have, this big conversation about air traffic control and all the old stuff. That's what we got. 1960s to 1970s technology. The only difference is like Silverline Phase 2 has the newest version of the 1970s technology. That's it, right? So we need to move from the DVD player to streaming. And that's basically what it is, because it's all cloud-based software technology, and it's called communications-based train control. We are the only major system in the country that doesn't have at least some lines done or even started. And it's big money, but it's the only thing in rail business. There's two things that really matter: your fleet and your signals. Fleet, we're in pretty good shape, and signals, we are not. And so we need to upgrade our signals big time. So this whole DMV moves process has been really good. The board conversation has been good. We know what we have to do. I think there's pretty good unified agreement in the region on, yes, these are the things. We don't need to go build more tunnels right now. People have a lot of ideas. We have to look after the house we have, make it safer, make it more reliable, and make it more cost efficient to run. And that's what signaling technology and some automation will allow us to do. At the same time, we need to invest in better regional bus connectivity. We run a really good network, but there's places where the bus doesn't provide good service after 7 p.m. or there's no service on Saturday and Sunday. Or every day we have parts of our network where we leave people on the curb and they can't fit on the bus. Last week, I couldn't get on a bus that came by. I take the service bus and train every day. There was a day I couldn't get on the bus and I had to wait the next bus. That happens all over the system all the time. So generally speaking, we have about $550 million number that we need to work on. Obviously, Virginia makes up a piece of that, make it easy, a third. And then the way you all do it in Virginia generally is the state is half, the locals are half. What we're really trying to say is we'd love to solve this in the upcoming legislative process. We need that predictability, or we're going to implement a capital program next summer that will actually start with pretty significant reductions go forward. And these projects are multi-year in planning development. We also are leaving federal money on the table. If we do not have local match, I can't go after federal money. And so like a good example is some of the signaling is eligible for what's called like core capacity grants, where we could get the federal government maybe paying 30 to 50% of that. If I don't have that local match, we can't put the package together. So if $1 billion project, we might be able to get 400 million. We need the 600 million to go get it. You don't get the 400 and then match it. It's the opposite. We have to show we have the money to get it. So there's other regions are going out and getting the federal money, and we're not getting any of that. So Seattle's getting it, LA's getting it, New York's getting it, all these places. So we're kind of losing to our peers. And so I just wrap with that, which is, don't want to end sounding like we got handout. We more want to do hand together. How do we kind of all work? What are we trying to accomplish? We want to be a great partner. Hopefully you feel we're demonstrating that. And I just kind of end with, I just really appreciate it. It's been a fun 3 years, and there's been nothing but great support for this region. The love of Metro is obvious in this region. And we just really appreciate just working with everybody, staff level, elected level, you name it. And ways that we can improve, just let us know, and we're going to keep doing that. So thanks again for having me, and welcome any dialogue, ways we can do things.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So opening it right up to questions. Mr. Alcorn.
Randy, thank you. Excellent presentation. Can you address, I guess, another elephant in the room that's getting more and more discussion, automation? Can you talk about that in terms of how we stack up versus other systems around the country and the world? And basically, why should we push in this direction?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for that. So I think we got to be able to look across a spectrum. And I think in our world right now, everyone's rushing to an idea of the word automation, what it means. And people are thinking it's like, okay, everything's self-driving. So this idea of autonomy, automation, how all these kind of words and they fit. So a good example, barely down the street from here at Dulles Airport, there's been an automated train since it started, right? It literally, the doors open, you get on, it takes you to the terminal and you get off. That's an automated train. So right now, the most sophisticated train in our region is run by the airport, not the trains, the authority. That's all we're kind of talking about, right? I'm not sure we would do that across the entire network. There's an ROI analysis that needs to be done. We promised the board we'd have that out by December. Even then, that's not the whole recipe, but it's the analysis. We have two big problems at the system. We have signal reliability, which has been getting really bad, especially on the red line. The red line is the oldest. It has to be the first one we do. The second lines we would do would be probably blue, orange, and silver, because like this Clarendon corridor is kind of the second oldest, but more importantly, it's a capacity issue. If we do not fix our signaling, we are never going to put enough trains through the Roslyn Tunnel for all of the growth in Northern Virginia. It's just not possible. The old system can only manage so much throughput and manage it in a reliable way. So we might be able to put a little bit more through, but we wouldn't be able to do it reliably. And then why would you bother doing it? So if you go to a good system that has done a lot of this, they're running, so most days we're about 90% reliability, which in the US is really high. These guys are running at 98.9, 99.7, the best in the world, 99.99. That's where we want to get to, right? Where very little things happen ever. So signal reliability. And number two, we have a lot of trespasser issues. A lot of trespasser issues. I would say, I bet you at Dunloring, we have very little trespasser issues. But if we had a trespasser at Foggy Bottom, someone at Dunloring's commute is messed up. And we got to get everyone realizing that the regional network is not about where you live, it's how the network works. So if someone jumped in front of a train, unfortunately, or just like we have this sometimes, police might chase someone in a tunnel, generally local police, not our police. We try not to do that. That messes up the whole thing. So between Roslyn and Stadium Armory, 3 lines come together. Anything that happens in that section, everyone from Franconia, Ashburn, and Vienna is messed up. That's it. They all go together. We have no resiliency in there at all. Plus, if we have to do maintenance, everyone has an impact. So we need to modernize our signaling. Automation will help with that. It also should significantly help with our cost management. This is not about getting rid of everyone that works at Metro. We have a lot of employees. We're going to have a lot of employees forever. We might have opportunities though to use employees differently, upskill them, think through where we need employees, what do people do really well, and what do computers do really well. There's a reason we don't collect tolls anymore, right? Computers do that very, very well, but we still need humans to do other things. That gives us this opportunity. We can run trains closer together, much less cost per train. There's a lot we can do on efficiency, safety, and reliability. And I just think we got to go at this from a data-driven approach, and we do that, the whole region will benefit.
Thank you. That's a fulsome answer. So I saw Mr. Walkinshaw and then Mr. Carrera, and then Ms. Bailey. Sorry.
And Mr. Caratonis.
Okay. Walkinshaw first.
First on Better Bus, and I've said this to some on your team, I thought it was an incredibly impressive process. I was looking for things to complain about during the process and I couldn't find any. I obviously am, now that it is rolling out, and my district is one of those, I'm sure not alone, where, you know, folks who had a bus stopping in their neighborhood now don't and are having to get on the bus on the arterial. So I'm getting those complaints, but I guess a question, and there's been some media coverage along those lines. When do you think there will be some kind of data to demonstrate the success of Better Bus that you'll be able to present? Because you know, those of us who follow the process closely believe that will come. When do you think that will be?
Yeah, great question. First of all, good seeing you in person, and congratulations on your latest
Side hustle.
Not mine. This is the first time I've seen you in person. And thank you for the comment on the staff. I think the process has been amazing. I think we had over 45,000 public comments. We did hundreds of events. So I think we went at it with the earnest, honest approach. So I'll say one thing and then I'll get to the data part. So one thing that unfortunately is getting a little conflated with Better Bus right at the moment is we are dropping a little bit more trips than normal because we are short operators. And we finally caught up on operators. And then last year we did a hiring freeze because we didn't know what was going to happen with the budget, right? It's taken us a hiring freeze at Metro that was 3 months long, 3.5 months at bus operators, took almost a full year to catch up. We have that many, thousands of bus operators, right? So every month we're going to go through 30, 40 people just like that, right? So that really did hurt us. And it's a good indication without predictability, there's a long range, down range of impacts. So we are a little shorter than we want to. We're accelerating some classes. We want to get that back to be stable, hopefully by October. And we don't drop many trips. We probably dropped 200 trips today, and we delivered, if I had to guess, like 12,500 maybe. So it's a very small, but obviously it can be impactful to a person. That is being a little conflated with Better Bus, which would have happened if we didn't do Better Bus. I'd say I put them in categories. The overwhelming feedback is mostly just some confusion about naming. And that gets washed out pretty fast. If I took the A12 and now I'm taking the A7, I do it once or twice, I never think about it again. That's I would say the large majority, which means they're minor and they solve themselves pretty quickly. Then there's ones where we legitimately either a bus stop, because we don't control the bus stops. That's another big challenge we have, right? Is most transit agencies own or control the bus stops. We are very unique. We don't manage the bus stops. All the local jurisdictions do. So sometimes we put them in places where it's almost a compromised place, not because anyone did anything wrong, just that's where, and it didn't turn out to be the right thing. Like we put one near, we should have did something different at the VA that came out the other day. And that wasn't intentional. There's so many moves that happen in that area. I think it could have been a couple 100 feet, it would have been better. So yesterday, people are already into adjusting on that. Actually, they were already doing it already. It just happened to get highlighted. So there's some of that stuff. We missed some signs. I think we probably had 100 signs, maybe out of X amount of thousands that, if there's 10,000 signs, maybe 100 were messed up. I think half of those are already fixed or most of them. The district had the most challenges because we've actually moved more things in the district. Some of it is where we changed service and the other local agency picked up service. We did a little bit, I think, of that at Fairfax. Montgomery, we probably did the most of that, and that was confusing to people. So put all that together, I think certainly for the December pick, we're gonna have a really good sense of what needed to be cleaned up and where we are. I think where we're gonna see the data start coming together on success, by mid-fall, we're gonna have a sense on how much more ridership we are getting where we thought we would get it. And number two, how accurate the reliability of what we would call a run cut, how long the bus is gonna go take from me to you, and what we model that versus the reality of traffic. And one of the things we do that's really hard here, we only do 2 kind of employee selections a year. And therefore, in the summer when there's no school, that same schedule, what we would call runs hot, and then you get to September and we can run cold. So if I say it's an hour to get from me to you in late or middle July, I probably get there in 48 minutes. But in September, it might be an hour and 5. So we're always trying to find that thing that meets the best middle ground on that. And that can lead to bunching and gapping. And we're watching that really closely. So I would say by mid-fall, the data should be enough that we have a good, like directionally. And then more importantly, how do we then make it better and better in the December pick and then next summer as well? So, and I do think this sets the stage for even closer coordination with the local bus operators as well. And more importantly, where we need to further invest, because this is the new reset everywhere. So if we get 2 million, where we should put it, 5, 10, 20, now we know the recipe where we want to put it. Yeah, so hopefully
That
that's a long-winded way. Most of my answers unfortunately sound like,
No, that's good.
it's a chance, like, I'm geeking out on transit with everyone, so.
I think there are probably 2 questions. One is when we actually know the data, and when can we have it in a format so that we could make the case on the data? And I think you answered both questions, Mr. Carrera, and then Ms. Bailey, and then Mr. Fairbanks.
Thank you for your presentation. The question I have with automation coming, is there any talk or discussion about placing railings on the platform? Similar to like what Dulles does. A lot of European models do that, subways. Is there any discussion?
Of course, that's part of this analysis. So, and we would call those platform screen doors.
Right.
And the idea is how to tie that in with the signaling system. So I think what the business plan is going to probably evolve is we're going to have to do this in phases and then segments within the phase, right? So we're probably talking better part of $8+ billion to do this, maybe over 15, 20 years, right? So the question is, how much of that do we need to do? What timeline do we have to do that on? How do you finance that? What's your ROI on all that? So red line toss is kind of non-debate. It's first. It's literally, it's the most used and it's the oldest signaling, and we got big problems. I'm not sure, for instance, it would make sense yet to do platform screen doors at a station, maybe like this station or an innovation center, a lower ridership and not really a lot of issue station. Whereas Navy Yard is really valuable to do that because there's a lot of people, a lot of tourists, Metro Center, you have kids, you have people that might have a few drinks, you might have people with luggage, you have just big hubs. So like where in the core, and the core for us on Blue, Orange, and Silver might be, quite frankly, East Falls, where the junction happens, or we might say it's Roslyn. And then the question is that, segment phase 2, segment 1, and then if we have enough money and it's worth it, 10 years later, do more because it shows its value. Or we say, we're going to run in an automated mode in this section of the network, and then you get to Roslyn or East Falls, and then the operator drives the train like they do today, as an example, because that's the best mix. And there's a couple places in the world that do that. London Elizabeth Line does that as an example. They run in an automated, and then they go into a manual operation in a part of the network. So there's different ways to do this. There's no perfect way. The perfect way is you build a brand new system, kind of like in Singapore or Copenhagen, and it's brand new and it's automated. We also run kind of unique trains here. We don't run a normal urban metro. We run this kind of hybrid model of an urban subway system, and like most in Europe, you call like an S-Bahn regional rail network. And we kind of do both. So we're trying to do longer haul trips to Ashburn, but we're also trying to get people from Noma on a quick stop to, Gallery. Totally different type of trip. You speed up, you stop, lots of people on the platform, long haul. So we're trying to always do both things, and to do that efficiently is actually kind of challenging because people want different experiences, and the trains and the system has to be a little different to accomplish those 2 goals. So long way of saying, yes, that is a big part of this. Where is it the most valuable to do it? Because it's not cheap. but it also really helps with safety reliability significantly.
Thank you.
Ms. Bailey.
Thank you very much. Randy, thank you for
Good
being
seeing you.
here.
Yeah.
Good to see you as well. And you started out, when you first came to us, you started out talking about customer service. When you presented, I remember when you presented at COG, you talked about customer service and tonight, you said
Always.
the same thing. That's what's sustaining us. That's what's making us gooder and gooder. So what does that look like in terms of sustaining great customer service, something that's not what we're accustomed to in the world today, but it still works. And then in addition to that, your workforce. What does that look like in terms of growing your workforce, getting that kind of training to them so that Metro continues to get gooder and gooder?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And I would say thank you for, again, recognizing that. So I think that feeds in a couple things, which one, we're always gonna need a workforce.
Mhm.
Right? Our goal isn't to Waymo out everyone that works here. Like, that's not what we're after. We have a huge amount of touch point, right? Someone's gonna show up right now at Dulles and go, how do I get downtown? Someone's gonna be at a Nats game and say, what do I do? I lost my kid got on the train, the door's shut. Like, there's life, right?
Yeah.
We need good people caring about our customers. So we're laser focused on that. I will tell you, I think in one way, we're holding our staff a little bit more accountable, but I think we're also training them and empowering them
Mhm.
to be more customer centric. A good example, station managers are other booths. They used to be in booths, now they're other booths.
Yeah.
And they talk to people a lot more. And our whole ethos, we just hired a new SVP of training. And the number one thing that we said is the number one interaction we want to have with every customer is one thing. How can I help you?
Mhm.
That's it. Not, yo, what's up? What do you need? No. How can I help you?
Mhm.
If you go to McDonald's, that's what they say. And if McDonald's could set that, we could set that, right? Everything starts on the first interaction. If someone's upset, how can I help you? De-escalates it right off the get-go.
Mhm.
So really thinking about, we are here for the customers. No customers, we don't exist.
Mhm.
We're building a new training center. It's in our capital program. We want to really drive, we have some simulators, but we want to drive augmented reality a lot more. We want to drive situational kind of competency training versus just kind of check the box standard training. We want to treat our employees like they're adults. That
Mhm.
we're not paternalistic, and that we're trying to tell a 50-year-old how to use a fire extinguisher for 3 hours. You know how to do it? Good. Let's move on. And I think that empowerment, big workforce, you're not gonna get, uniformity on
Everything.
emotions and feelings.
Mhm.
But I do think there's a pride in the workforce that is pretty good right now. I think system every day. I think if you're on the system, you see a lot of people that they like wearing the M.
Mhm. That's
They
true.
went through years. People that worked here, a lot of scars, right? Like, if the Washington Post and Channel 4 says you're horrible every day, after a while, that's a hard place to be.
Come back.
And now, we did a holiday pop-up store. We sold $230,000 of holiday merch with Metro gear.
Wow.
Yeah, we sold out of Foggy Bottom Speedos last year. So I keep telling the team, y'all can only do those things. Free one for the board member. But I tell the team, you can only do that stuff when service is
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise you're not focused on the right thing. But I don't think people would buy that stuff. This Saturday, we have an event out this way, actually our Metro Fest event. We did our first ever Metro Fest last summer. And I think both events had 2,000 people each, like families brought their. So I think that there's a general feel of pride, both in the community and the workforce. We just got to keep that going and sustain it. And it's a big deal, the workforce.
Mhm. Thank you.
Chair Karen Tonis.
Thank you. So, it sucks I will miss the Vienna event this Saturday because we have to be somewhere else and we will be talking about Metro too.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So.
I might see you there.
It's the code.
I'm missing my own event.
So a couple of questions. I mean, for me, I agree with James here. I was absolutely stunned how uneventful it felt when you transitioned to the 29th. I was looking also, to see what is going to break, what's going to not to work. How many?
A lot of scar tissue here.
I got exactly 3 emails, and they were all about just plain Jane information.
Yeah.
was zero complaints the first day. So congratulations to
Thank you.
that.
That's what we like.
Everybody-
Our general, you know how I feel really good is that, and don't take this the wrong way. The less we hear from elected officials, we know things are going all right. And that is a compliment to all of you. Because, you know, that's the deal, because you go to Giant and you hear a bunch of
So-
that's your constituents, and we want you to not have Metro as one of the things you have to deal with.
So here are the consequences of your success. So I get now the emails say, okay, what's next? How are we going to, and you touched upon that the Metro is, right now, I have a strong feeling that we have a two gears, system in a sense that in the central part of the region, we have a lot of people asking for more higher frequency. They're very happy with the weekend service there. We're very happy with, you know, they feel that Metro is more ready for them or there for them. And I feel that the system is not designed to cater to, you know, a periphery that's a little bit less service or less frequent service and a core that is significantly higher service. And my question is also, how can the regional, I mean, here in Northern Virginia, we have almost 10 bus, you know, operators, et cetera. How do you feel that this will mesh together?
Yeah, so
So that
quickly on
help
the,
each other.
quickly on the first one, we have the bulk, if we invest in modernizing our signal system, and automation would really allow flexibility and agility around that even more so. That's not gonna be an issue. Listen, we're not gonna run trains every 5 minutes to Ashburn. I don't see us in, like, the level of development that would have to happen there for 5-minute service is like, we run 5-minute service at DuPont Circle. Like those are not, but maybe, you know, maybe we should not be running 12 on the weekends. We need to, or maybe we gotta get to 8 during the week and not 10. That's probably gonna happen sometime. But if that's at 8 and Franconia gotta get down to 8 and Vienna, we already have proposed, we want it to be at 7.5. Vienna could be at 6 one day, right? Now we don't have the capacity back to the Roslyn Connect, you know, the tunnel. So that's where signaling comes together. There's getting more and more technology where, you know, some innovative ways to split trains in revenue service. Quite frankly, one of the things that, you know, we're contemplating is, should we get trains to Wheelie as 8-car trains? And should we start breaking a train in service and running 4-car train to Ashburn, but running more frequently? Because it's all about capacity. We don't need to run an 8-car train to Ashburn. We need this much capacity. And then as you move in on the line, you need more capacity. Germany's doing some really interesting things like that right now, where they're splitting a train off, they merge it back together. That kind of efficiency means that train, you need less maintenance, you need less train cars, all of that kind of stuff. So that's where we're really focused, is how to really move this place to a serious tech mindset around using our very expensive, a brand new rail car is $3 million today. If we bought a brand new rail car, it's about $3 million. So if you bought an 8-car train set, it's $24 million. So every time you go on an 8-car train set, you're like, this is $24 million. Then you got a yard and a facility and all the other stuff. So we need to run that as hard as we can for 40 years and get every ounce of blood out of that thing. And so there's no sense buying this stuff and then worrying about running a little extra service. Service costs nothing. We already bought everything,
That's high
right?
fixed
Like,
cost.
the escalators are running, the stations are staffed, we have a police department, we bought the trains, the power's on. Running a little extra service is a couple $1 million in a $5 billion. It's not even honestly we're talking about. But we do. That's all we talk about is this 0.5% differential. What we really did is we have a $100 billion asset. Let's get more out of it. And we need to get more people in this region on the system. That's the first part. The second part, I won't go into too much more detail. Maybe we'll do a little bit more cog. I will just say, I think if anyone was starting in 2025 and said, let's design a regional transit network, you wouldn't have the network we have today. I don't think anyone would say it's a good idea to have 10 operators and 2 regional railroads that don't connect and a metro system. No one would do that intentionally. So we got ourselves into this. Well, like, I mean, seriously, you wouldn't model that and do that. So we're now there. And doesn't mean anyone made a mistake for a variety of reasons. Metro owned, jurisdiction owned. We're 3 states that act like a region sometimes and not a region other times. We're there. The question is, how do you move that forward? And obviously I have opinions, but That's just me. It's not my job to decide our region. I think that there's huge opportunity if we actually would work together on what we're trying to accomplish for a regional mode share goal. Because that's at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how many people are using these systems. And if we had better, like, we don't have a regional fare policy. Like, so I'm running buses right now in Alexandria or in Montgomery County or Prince George's County, literally at the same place. This bus is free and I have cops ticketing people, and if they put up a fight, arresting someone for not paying a fare. That's an insane way to run an integrated bus network. Mark and VRE don't have shared equipment and can't use each other's platforms, and they don't integrate to the metro system. So there's a lot of things we could do if we said, what is the regional goal, and not worry about who's going to do what and whose flag is it. And I think that is a idea,
That's nice.
this DMV moves, COG. We're just the operator. Obviously, I have lots of ideas. I'd like to consider myself a transportation professional, but that is a larger political team effort. But this region's ripe for it. I think we do need to change the game. People just have to decide what they want the outcome to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dash is free in some areas, and, we've had a lot of discussions at DMV moves about this, and Arlington may want more buses than the region might want in Arlington.
Sure.
But, if you think about your efforts to consolidate with your school system or anything, we have to do some, Clark Mercer at COG keeps saying, we have to do some pilots to show that we can do this so that we break down the barriers, because everyone can nod that we should not have 10 different, and some of the reasons go back to the history of the labor movement and Virginia's history vis-a-vis the labor movement. And there are other different reasons, but it's also the case that Fairfax may want more service. But we have to start thinking about pilots to show that we can succeed at this, because that's the only way we're going to get out of the political buckets of, you're not going to come to Arlington and easily and say, shut down this after we have a new facility. So I think it's an important question. And these have been very detailed answers. I don't see any other hands. I'm mindful that I still have a daughter and I'd like to get home to her, but your answers have been so thorough.
I think you're being a kind way of saying I talked to you.
No, I mean, all of us are in long meetings where we and others speak for a long time and don't say as much substantively as you've just said in the number of answers.
I only come like once every year and a half, so I was trying to get the
But let's share, I mean, first, almost never in your meetings is there spontaneous applause, and there was spontaneous applause when you got that. It's been 3 years. Think about where you were 3 years ago, and think about how long you feel like the story has been positive for Metro. I feel like it's been 8 years, but it's only 3 years. That means the system can go badly, quickly, if we don't get good results over the next 6 months. As far as DMV moves doing our job, and candidly, the election matters a whole bunch to whether we can get that sustained funding. But I just think we ought to, I mean, you've had 2 knee surgeries. There's one meeting where you are going to get recruited across the country. And so I think we should just offer one more applause and thank you for what you've done for our region.
The team. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
He may get recruited, but he ain't going nowhere.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm very happy. My wife said, I love the region. We love working with everybody. The team is great. We're all committed. And we won Agency of the Year award, but we won it as a region. We don't do that like by funding, partnership, everyone pulling together. We should all reward yourselves for your commitment to the organization. It's a big important organization, and everyone's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in. I'm just the next guy on the train.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming and
thank
for
you.
your presentation. I don't think there's any other closing comments. You have a few minutes to get home before you probably wake up at 5 to start your day all over again. So big thank you, and we'll go on to the next item.
See you on the weekend.
Yep, sure thing.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Happy retirement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Don't get sucked into something else.
I already am, so.
Oh, there you go.
I am.
Good seeing you. Good seeing you again.
See you on
Thanks.
Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, our next
See everyone.
thank you, and thank you, Mayor Potts, as well. Our next items will be, adoption of a couple of action items, and I'll send it over to Bob for a
Sure.
summary of those.
Really, very quickly, first one is to authorize me to sign, executive director to sign a memorandum of understanding with Virginia Housing. They want to sublet some office space from us. It turns out to be about $600 a month, but I'm happy to take their money if so be. So, that allows me or my successor to sign that agreement. And the second is to authorize to request proposals to sign agreement for a flood education outreach campaign, social marketing services. We received a $90,000 grant from DCR, and this allows us to move forward with our regional partners on a flood turn around, don't drown type of effort. So
Sure, it's hard.
those are the two items.
Great. It's hard not to think of, I think it's since we met last month, we've had the national tragedy
Yep.
in Texas. And so I will, out of interest of time, but not trying to do this on a regular basis, I'll move resolution P2601 on the housing and the tenancy, and resolution P2602 on the flood. Is there a second? Ms. Bailey, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next we have the executive director's report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very quickly, for 10th consecutive year, we are co-hosting the Nova Regional Elected Leaders Summit in Arlington. If someone is interested in attending, please let me know. We get a number of free tickets. I'm happy to sign you up. I know Commissioner Walkinshaw is one, Commissioner Chair DeFerranti is another. But if you're interested, please email me and I'll make sure that you're on the list. Next slide, please. You all know this, so, what happened with the tax credits has caused Solarize Nova to extend to August 15th. There's been a big jump in interest because people know that unless their project starts this year, they will not be eligible for the credit. And so that's been extended. And thank you to everyone for sharing that information. Next, please. These are the flood grants. One of them is from DCR, which is the $90,000. And another one is to update our climate data based upon the latest global climate models. So Rebecca won the first one and Nora won the second. So kudos to them at work. Next slide, please. And that is it.
That's nice work.
That is very quick. By the way, we'll do our financial report. We just ended the fiscal year. We exceeded budget for our surplus 6x. June was a negative month in that it reflects the fact that our Ryan White funds were cut. And so some of our indirect monies were affected. We had a check that we thought was cashed in 2024. It wasn't until this year. So we had to, not only do you have to take the expense out, but also the revenue. Year, 6 days of payroll are in the final fiscal year. So we had a deficit for the month, but overall we're in good shape. I know I sent an email to the executive committee, but thank you to Carol and Michelle and Mark and our other folks in human services. Our HOPWA grant was approved for the fiscal year beginning October 1st for $2.5 billion. It was held harmless, and they cite the fact that we've done a really good job over the last 3 years in terms of operating the program. With that, this is my last meeting as executive director with you all. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the words that people have shared with me. But more importantly, I just want to thank the staff. I mean, I've been coming to NBRC for the last 18 years, 8 as a member and 10 working here. It's been a joy. I have loved the work. I'm already making myself a nudge in Wilmington, North Carolina, talking about LED streetlights and other kinds of things that seem second nature here in the region. But I appreciate your friendship and your guidance over the last 8 years, especially as executive director. We took over in a difficult spot. The balance sheet, until we have our audit done is 2.3 million to the plus. We started significantly less than that. It's been a real joy. I know that all of you have been invited to an event in August. I hope to see you there. You'll get to meet Brooks Robert Paget, my grandson, who will be celebrating his first birthday about 2 or 3 days later. But if I don't, listen, thank you. I'm not disappearing. I'm gonna be around. Cell phone numbers not changing. And I've pledged to the executive committee that, and whoever succeeds me, that I'm willing to help to continue the work going forward, because it's that important. I said this at an Arlington meeting, Fairfax meeting, we're in extraordinarily interesting times, I guess, to be polite. And I think we're in the best place to deal with it, with the ingenuity and the innovation that a lot of our localities are doing. On Saturday, Arlington just did 2 big projects converting office space that will reduce their vacancy rate by 1.5%, which is pretty amazing, in one Saturday morning, and I know you're doing more now. So it's those kinds of things, or it's solar arrays on landfills, or the Solarized program. LCPS has more schools with solar than any school system in Northern Virginia. So there's a lot of good work going on. So with that, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll see you when I see you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, in your own meetings, when one person talks, then everyone else feels they have to talk. And so I'll try to steer us away from that. First, I have moderately or majorly failed in a proper gift.
Yeah.
We had a 10.5 hour meeting on Tuesday in addition to our Saturday meeting. We will find a time to properly recognize through something that honors, I think, 10 years of, if I'm correct, of extraordinary public service. And the second is, I think all of us, we wouldn't be here if we didn't care about public service, but it's so deeply good to see someone who has done public service and is so committed to it. So it's inspiring for us in addition to you. And as everyone looks back on their lives, that, your family and how you have treated other people are paramount, and public service is about treating other people well. And you've done that in spades. And so, there's no easy way to transition, but I do think we owe it as an executive committee to be a little bit, to describe a little bit of our process. We had a meeting tonight. For those not on executive committee, there have been applicants, and Bob, to his immense credit, and great leaders always look to how they leave an organization in what hands. He and Linda, and there's been a first stage of interviews that the executive committee has engaged. We had a good discussion. We're grateful for those of you who seem to trust us enough not to want to be on the search committee with us. So we had an initial stage. We are going to then, most of the executive committee is then, about 4 or 5 of us are then going to have interviews with 2 candidates next week, and make a decision, perhaps, we're not set, but perhaps from those interviews. I mention it because there is a possibility that in the first 2 weeks of August, we might want to do a virtual meeting. And I think it's better to say that out loud to you now than have it randomly come in your inbox at some other point. Not everybody has to make the meeting. And we will be, what's that? Just 9. But we also have to say that because you've placed trust in us to choose someone. And clearly, just to reiterate, Bob took a all in the red organization and turned it to the black. And so who we choose is a big part of the job that we will ever do on NVRC. And so we will have a virtual meeting. We will also handle it in an email way such that if you have questions or concerns and are not on the search committee, you can ask. But I hope that is an update. If others on the executive committee think if you think I've said too much, definitely don't say it. But if you think I've said too little, or you need to correct me, are there anyone on the executive committee, anything else to add or not? I hope I haven't said too much, but I also feel a responsibility to be accountable and transparent with all of you as we go through the process. That does not mean in any way to detract from this. I hope you can make it to the happy hour. It is definitely something that I will leave my daughter and my wife to make sure that I'm at. If you can be at this meeting for that night, great. If you can't, understand. But we have to end again on adopting the minutes, but also, and then we'll adjourn, but we will end at least with a note that is what extraordinary public service from Bob it is to his credit that he immediately focuses on the staff, which is doing an amazing job. So is there a motion to adopt the minutes from June 2020?
So moved. Second.
You got that? Whoever, if we need notes, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Minutes passed. We are adjourned. Oh, wait, yes.
Just one thing, it's anticlimactic after Bob's news, but it's possible this could be my last meeting as a commissioner, so I just wanted to thank you all. You know, when I joined the Board of Supervisors, I wanted to be on NBRC because it's 7 minutes away from my house. But I have stuck with it because of all of you. I legitimately have enjoyed hearing from you and learning from you and getting to know each of you and the incredible service that you do and those commissioners who are no longer on the commission as well. So if I don't see you again in this capacity, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. And Bob, as I said at our board meeting, have immense respect for you and what you have done and have tremendously enjoyed working with you. In the whole
We look forward to you coming back in your new role.
That's right.
Go do the side hustle well if you can. We're adjourned.
This was my first. You were my first. Exactly. I have enjoyed this immensely.